Ownership Chapter 2. In this chapter, we will explore various forms of ownership specific to certain types of properties. This chapter will cover the following: condominium, condo, ownership, cooperative ownership, townhouse ownership, timeshare ownership, planned unit development, PUD, ownership, condominium or condo, ownership. Condominiums pose some interesting issues from an ownership point of view. Your first inclination may be to treat them the same way as other residential dwellings. This may be problematic. When an agent looks at a typical residence, they can usually identify the property that belongs with the home. It's fairly simple to describe the ground and identify the property. A condominium or condo is a whole different story. Condos often resemble apartment buildings. A building of condos normally consists of multiple levels. Let's use a 3-story condo building as an example. Assume the building has 4 units on each floor. Who owns the real estate where the building stands? If the building is 3 stories high, 3 different units sit on the exact same piece of the property. One would argue that all 12 units in the building sit on the exact same piece of property. If the only way to own real property is to own the ground on which a building sits, condo owners would have a problem. Every state in the United States has passed legislation which makes it possible to own a condominium as real property despite the fact that it may or may not sit on its own piece of land. These state laws make it possible to own real property without owning the ground. By definition, a condominium project includes common area. For example, the ground surrounding the condo building is considered common area. If the project has a clubhouse or a swimming pool, they would also be considered common area. Common area is owned by all of the individual condo owners jointly together. The owner of a condo unit may own the unit in any way we discussed in Chapter 1. All of the owners of a unit own the common area together as tenants in common. Unlike traditional tenancy in common, ownership of common areas is typically restricted. Individual condo owners are not entitled to divide the ownership and property as they would under traditional tenancy in common ownership. As mentioned previously, each state has a law which allows ownership of the individual units. Most get very specific as to what part of the building a condo owner owns. For example, an owner may own their unit from the interior wall of the unit. The exterior of the unit would be considered common area. Most states allow for identical ownership rights of the unit, like those as the owner of a traditional residence or a piece of property. The condo owner has the exclusive right to use the property, sell the property, or anything else they're able to do with the ownership rights in a traditional property. A condominium must have a recorded condominium declaration with a legal description and other details of the project. The project must also have a homeowners association to manage and maintain the common area. Condo owners are usually required to pay a monthly homeowners fee to the association. The association is responsible for all the maintenance and insurance of the common areas. If an owner becomes delinquent in the payment of their monthly fees, a lien may be placed on their property. The HOA, Homeowners Association, can have this right granted by the association documents in order to secure payment from the owner. If the HOA chooses, they may even foreclose on the lien. Some common areas are easy to identify, such as common landscaping, parks, clubhouses, etc. The association is responsible for maintaining all these amenities. Remember, part of the buildings are also considered common area. Let's assume each unit in a project has a patio. If one owner's patio starts cracking and needs to be repaired, who is responsible? As we discussed previously, everything outside of a unit's interior wall is considered common area. Therefore, the maintenance or repair of the patio is most likely the responsibility of the homeowners association, not the individual condo owner. Some properties may look like condominiums, but legally may be something else. Assume you have a project with buildings which consist of 4 townhomes side by side. All 4 units are attached. This project may be a condo, or it may be a planned unit development of townhomes. We will discuss townhomes shortly. The main difference is the townhome owners own the ground on which the unit sets. The townhome complex will still have a common area, require a homeowners association, and the accompanying dues. Cooperative ownership. A cooperative is another way to own real estate. With cooperative ownership, a corporation owns a piece of property. The property is usually a multi-unit property, such as an apartment-type building. The corporation then sells shares in itself. These shares represent the right to occupy a unit in the building. For example, one share in a corporation would grant the owner of a share the right to occupy one unit in the building.